welcome back. Let's pick up where we left off, talking about my palette and the Procreate app. A couple of years ago, my techie daughter gave me this big iPad with the Procreate app and this Apple Pencil, and it took me a while. I'm really using it a lot on this project, and I'm having some fun. This cap comes off, and the pencil is charged by just putting it into the iPad, and it takes just not very long, just a few minutes. So let's see what I'm doing with this. This is the palette that was under consideration, and from this image, which I imported into Procreate, I was able to create my Procreate palette, which is here. I'll quickly show you how I created the swatches. I'm going to add, let's add this kind of light olive green. Just going to put a little pressure on it. And I get the, they call it an eyedropper. And you can see the crosshairs. And I'm going to find what I think, best represents the area that best represents the color. Lift my finger. And that is now my active color. I want to add that down here, just like that. Make sure it's the active color and just pop it in. Well, as it turned out, I decided against these olives, so let's remove that. I'm just going to drag it off. So that is how I created the palette, which I then arrange from dark to the lightest values, and the same with these browns. Now that I have my palette, I can do something with it. I imported an image of my drawing here, and I started coloring and eventually got some direction. I've got B-cuts and 1/2 pizza in 5 values of a kind of spring green range, and that's what I'll be using for these big pieces, for all these big chunks. I want to have some color impact, a light impact. So I kind of want to go from dark to light. So I started coloring in some of the darker values, and also up here a lighter mix. Over here, after doing this area, I was using some of those dark values of the olive greens, and then I could clearly see I really didn't want to add those to my palette, and I eliminated those. So this helped me refine my palette in a quick way, in which I can really see the impact on the whole piece like this. Really being able to zoom in and out, just like on your phone, is wonderful for mosaic work, because it's like when you have to put your piece up on an easel, or sometimes I'll if it's not too big, I'll hold it in front of a mirror just to get that distance perspective at it. And you can do that so easily and quickly, as you work. So so I started coloring here, and I wasn't sure then I could see enough. I'm not sure I want to handle the mix that way, and I'm not sure where the light needs to impact the most, exactly what I want there. Before I move on, though, to talk about what I did next, I'm just going to show you the coloring. Let me go here. Select my color. I like this one here. These are the brushes. Sketching, inking, painting, artistic, airbrushing, textures. I'm using an ink tip and a studio pen. Over on this side, the left side, there's a couple of controls. This one is for the brush size. I'm going to leave that at the largest size that there is for the studio pen. This is for opacity. I do want full opacity. There's also a quick undo and then another undo of the undo, a put it back arrow. So now I'm ready to color in. I'm going to color this piece here. Oh, that's a big brush and it's getting out of control. I can't control it very well. I'm not used to it, but also it is a little too big. Let's reduce that to about half. And let's undo what I did and try that again. Yeah, I'm doing this by looking through the iPhone. So, and as I color, for some reason, my one hand that holds the phone is shaking. So this is going to be a little easier for me to manage. I like that better, but oh, I think that's too dark, so let's just get rid of that. Oh, but I've changed my mind. I think I want it back. So let's just put it back. Isn't that awesome? I'm sure there are other programs and apps that do this. This is the only one I have and the only one I've worked with. So it's easy to do that coloring, but it's still pretty tedious if I wanted to color in all these pieces. And, I may do that. So back to, how exactly do I want to handle the shading from dark to light? Well, I decided to start over with a fresh image. I decreased the opacity and I increased the brush size, and I just started very quickly coloring in, following the flow of how I think I might want it to go. And this is pretty close. It's not quite there. I think I need to refine that. It's almost there. And this really helped me see that. So I thought, well, let me just try that again. And I did do another one, and I'll just show them side by side here in the gallery. This is the first one, and it's closer, but I think I need it, I want it more in this corner, I think, and up along the edge. This was too light. Now this was a fairly quick process, and so I'm going to keep at this until I get it just the way I want it, and that's going to help me so much as I go. Then I might come back. I've got a couple of other ideas I want to play with. So I've got about 10 days, 2 weeks before I'll see you again. I'm taking a road trip with my son to Virginia. I'm going to have some downtime in some hotel rooms, and I'm going to while away those hours or minutes playing with Procreate. Before I go, I'll show you a couple of other neat things, ways that I've found to use Procreate that are helpful to me. So I was working on this little mosaic and realized I didn't quite handle some areas the way I wanted to, and I wanted to see if I could figure out a better way to do it. Let's see, let's go try this one. So what I did was I imported an image of the unfinished mosaic, and I got a white color with my probably the studio pen still. I lowered the opacity and I just painted over the area that I wanted to work on, and then with a finer pencil, finer black, I started drawing in how I might handle that to better express some areas. This got a little out of hand with too many small pieces. That one, no, that's no good. But I did this several times until I finally got closer to what I wanted to do, and then I used that as a guide and went in and reworked those areas on the mosaic. Also, you can use it fresh, just a fresh canvas, and just create your own original artwork fresh like that. You can download palettes from online, I believe. I haven't done that. So this is Procreate, and it's a pretty handy tool. By the time I see you again in 10 days to a couple weeks, I'm going to have this all figured out, exactly what I want to do, and I'll be ready to start cutting and gluing. Until then, thank you for joining me today. Ciao.